Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John. Welcome back to The Love of Cinema, Part 2. A pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye. You can always tell when we have divided an episode in half, because I can't say my intro with good articulation. I just slur through
You just said
it.
we're The Love of Cinema Part 2, so we're off to a good start here. Guys, this is the podcast where we try to keep it positive. We try to avoid lazy negativity. We want to talk about loving movies. So to keep us positive, we made a drinking game. So you're going to hear, if we say anything negative at all, you're going to hear this sound. That sound means that we're taking a drink, and we hope you drink along with us.
So pour yourselves a glass, and I don't know why everyone else is talking at the fucking speed of light. I'm still the same.
Cheers. I just tapped my mic. That's for you, Dave.
Thanks.
I did the
Crazy
same thing.
drunk bastards.
Damn.
Whoa.
All right, people.
That was a big one.
We did not need to take another shot because folks, just so you understand,
wait, the
we
whole
split
point
the
of the
episode in
shot-
half.
You started this.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying we split the episode in
drinking.
half. I drank way more than you guys last one. This is I'm in 3 now. 2 shots, 3 beers.
Because
I got
That's
buzzed
'cause
along
you
at the
were a
beginning because I
dick.
messed up my intro. See, this is what, if you
Because I was
listen
a
to
dick. The
Friends, if you listen to our
reductive commentary
200
from my co-host.
if you listen to our 200th episode, part 1, you'll see that I need the drink because when it's like starting to hit me, I can't think straight. But once we get into this zone,
God, you're way funnier when you're tipsy too. It's just there's just
dude,
no
come on, man! Like
doubt about
alcohol.
it. No,
If you're struggling with
John
alcohol abuse,
drunk
people,
just
please
means I
call
have
the
more
hotline.
editing to do.
All right. Anyway, we're gonna continue on later in the episode with our summer blockbuster face-off, where we take the highest-grossing summer blockbuster of every year. We battle them up against each other. This week, we're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, the highest-grossing summer movie of 2014, against Jurassic World, the highest-grossing summer movie of 2015. Only one can advance, and guess what? We're almost caught up to present time.
Yeah,
so
we have one more.
We are going to have to go into our second round. So to keep up with what we've been watching, to keep up with what we've been voting on and what has advanced to the second round, you can find us on the socials, or you can just keep liking and subscribing and keep listening to this podcast. We're going to talk about Oppenheimer because we talked about Barbie in the last episode. So Barbenheimer, we started with Barb. Now we're going to Oppenheimer. So we're going to talk about that, which I didn't see. We'll talk more about that in a second. But these two are going to talk about it. I can't wait to hear what you guys say. I'm waiting for. Fuck, man. It's the 4th time I'm telling you why I haven't seen it. But this is the first for our listeners here. So anyway, that's what we're doing. That's the gig. Also, we're using.
Then he doesn't tell them.
We're also using domestic numbers. You guys want to shout our sponsors out? We got to hear from one of them in our last episode. We're also going to have some 200th congratulatory voicemails from people. Which is
Some
cool.
people have been lovely and sent us messages.
Yeah. We have some sponsors. Carlos Barroso makes the beer that we don't get to drink anymore. Carlos, fuck you / I love you. Send me some beer, bro.
He has some.
This is on us.
We're getting it. We've been slacking about picking it up.
Give him a follow on Instagram, cbarrozo.beer, CBARROZO.beer. He has a lot of really fun posts about making beer, beer enthusiasm. Shout out to that guy. He's the absolute best. Dasein is the artist in residence who sponsors and makes all of our music that you hear on these episodes. Every single episode. They have a whole plethora, a whole canon, a whole wonderful world of music waiting for you on all the usual music platforms to download. Dasein, Dasein. Enjoy yourself.
Right.
Yeah, let's do it.
As Jeff said, we did have some people send us some lovely messages.
Yeah, we have some loving
200th.
guests.
We're gonna sprinkle them a little bit.
Yeah, let's sprinkle. Let's go for we'll do maybe 2, and then we'll wrap it up with the last one.
How about those 2 cunts from our sister podcast? You're saving them
I'm
for
saving them for last.
Okay.
Our most loyal fans gotta fucking wait.
Because I know they listened to the first episode on Monday, waiting to hear themselves, and they didn't. So we fucking got them. We fucking got them.
Fuck you guys.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, we're gonna play it right at the end of this episode. But we got sent a rather lovely message here.
Oh.
Hello. This is Jeff Ronan of And Almost Starring, wishing the Love of Cinema Boys a happy 200th episode. So when I think of Love of Cinema, I think of a few things. I think of positivity.
Yeah.
I think of drinking, naturally. And I personally think of finally having had a reason, like you need a reason, to see and be shamed for not having ever seen before Dr. Strangelove, a truly excellent film. And more than that, I think of having my rose-colored glasses shattered by having to revisit Batman Forever, which might have been my favorite superhero movie as a dumb child. But now revisiting it on the show with you fine gents, I'm forced to admit is not good. And some might say terrible. And since I just said something negative, I think that means I have to go drink now. So congrats again, guys. And here's to 200 more.
Jeff Ronan, yes.
Yeah, dude, Jeff Ronan. I love that guy.
A couple
That
things
poor
about
bastard
that.
with like the Batman Forever episode. Oh my god.
A couple things about that. So we did Batman Forever as our third movie that we were talking about that night. So he comes on and we are red hot. We have so much alcohol in our veins and he is fresh. He comes in, he's like, hey guys. And we're like, brrrr. I didn't let him talk. I didn't let him talk for 5 minutes. I didn't let him talk at all. I wasn't there for Doctor Strangelove.
Everyone.
Touche. Fuck you. I'll lose myself for
God,
that.
it's so
but
good.
also Amy Jo, Jeff Ronan's wife, who talked about In the Heights and Singing in the Rain with us. She is performing in Singing in the Rain right now. She's literally performing in the show in Weston,
Amy
Vermont.
Jo, you're
Weston,
welcome.
Vermont. You're welcome for the inspiration.
It's because of us. But also,
No,
I
I'm
should
kidding.
point
She'd
out
already seen it a million times.
she was the
Oh my
first
God.
person to ever do hard liquor on this show.
She
that
did.
is
She
true.
sipped fucking
Yeah.
whiskey straight, if I
And then-
remember.
And
She
then,
was
and then I tried that about 3 weeks later, and you can listen and judge for yourself how that fucking went.
editing not so good on that one.
Their
Yeah,
podcast is so fun.
so.
Their podcast is alternate casting.
It is
for
so
things.
funny.
It's on
Yeah.
hold right now. It's on hold right now. But go through their feed and listen to them talk about alternate casting for some of your favorite movies. It's really fun. People who are actually considered for movies. It's really fun. And
They're
Also, if I'm
fantastic.
not mistaken, she has never seen the movie when they do
Correct. She has
Yeah.
usually not seen the movie, and Jeff gets to ask her. Jeff, her partner, co-host, who just spoke, gets to ask her.
It's okay if they've seen the movie. She just didn't look any of the casting up. So she's guessing
Okay,
the casting.
so it's kind of like charades.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Really fun premise. I met Jeff Ronan. He is an actor and was a playwright at one point. I don't know if he's still writing, and I acted in one of his plays in
Jeff
New York
Ronan,
City
right,
a long
man.
time
Never
ago.
stop writing.
A long time ago. And Jeff, my co-host, Jeff Ostermuller, met Amy Jo in an acting class. Is that right?
Acting class first, and then I saw a show.
Yeah. So our tiny little world of theater, we just met each other organically. Both pairs. I didn't know they were together. I didn't know Amy. It's just great how that worked out.
What a world.
Their podcast is a blast, and we should go on it again. Do you hear us? Y'all should have us on again, and we should have you on again.
They
It's
haven't
on-
had
it's
me
on
on there
hold,
so
but-
yet, I don't think.
It's on hold. But, you know,
Chappelle Show.
oh, shit. Let's talk about Oppenheimer. So this movie came out this year. It's 3 hours long. Apparently, there's a lot of talking and a nuclear bomb at the end. And I've been seeing
dude,
Cillian.
not at the
Oh,
end.
you saw it? You saw it?
Nope. And Cillian Murphy.
Why didn't you see it?
Do you want me to do this again? You want me to say this again?
Wait,
I'm waiting for the
Jeff, you
big.
did not
I'm waiting
see
for.
it? Whoa. Why didn't you
He's
see
told the
it?
story 4 times off air.
We talked about seeing it. You didn't see it? It's called Barbenheimer. Isn't that the
Last week you said you
it's the
didn't want to do
graphic.
Barbenheimer.
You literally
said
did
you
Barben.
didn't want to do it. You said everybody's going to do it. Everybody's going to be
I
talking about
bent
it. There's no
I
reason to
bent
listen to
over-
us talking about it. People know that we're doing the movie fucking summer face-off shit, whatever it's called. They know they're doing this. They're expecting that. We're going to break it up into 2 parts.
We scheduled the entire fucking thing to coincide with Barbenheimer for 2 episodes.
Jeff, I bent over
I knew
backwards
that.
to see both these
Then why didn't you
movies.
fucking see it?
I texted on like Tuesday. I was like, so I guess we're not fucking doing this, huh? All right. Well, I'm going to make my plans accordingly because
And
everything's
didn't I
sold
text
out.
back and say I still need to get tickets?
Welcome to my
Yeah,
first
and then
3
you
years.
said I still need to get tickets, and I said, okay, well, John is not interested in,
John,
so we're just going to
John
watch
is
these
still
fucking
he's getting
Marvel
tickets.
movies.
This will be our last
Taking
episode,
away
folks.
from Oh man, fuck you guys! I can't do 200 more of these. This is great.
I can.
So Jeff is going to moderate a conversation between Dave and I, the two
Oh my God, should we do it?
hosts
Was it
who
really
did
that
see
bad?
it.
Oh, Jesus.
No, it is
I
not
fucking
really that
dare ya.
bad.
No, but I know
way.
like one person. Yeah, I know. We're positive.
But you can ask us questions if you want. If anything comes up, please ask us questions as a wanting to know outside viewer, since you haven't seen it, or outside listener.
By the way, just before we carry on,
2 weeks.
John, you got a semi-personal message, by the way.
Oh, let's go.
Your brother-in-law
shit.
kind of called you out a little.
Oh, this is the great, the powerful.
So Jeff
Mr.
asked me
Jack
to
Dillon.
do this thing for your 200
He
episode.
sounds thrilled about it.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you.
None of you are anywhere near busy in life. What do I think when I think of the Love of Cinema podcast? I think of 3 morons getting drunk once a week for 200 weeks straight. That's what I think of.
So we're British.
We're
So,
British, exactly.
John, as your brother-in-law, I'm just going to say this. Congrats on the 200 podcasts.
And
Maybe let's get it moving on the other side of it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, actually make some movies. Yeah.
Have a good time this evening.
You'd be called out.
That's so funny.
The supporting star of Sisu, my brother-in-law, Jack Doolan, who just filmed. I'm going to brag on him for a second because this is going to be I can't fucking wait for this miniseries to come out starring Jack Doolan and Eddie Redmayne. It's a remake of the 70s film The Jackal.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Spy intrigue.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
They shot it in fucking Budapest. I'm sure it's set in other parts of Europe, but God, I'm excited
can I
to
just
see that
also
thing.
point out, like when I listened to that message earlier, because I'm the only one that's heard these, with the accent, it was like, "Hey John, how about you get the other stuff moving?" And my brain added, "Or I'll fucking glass you."
Oh, fucking glassy. Fucking oh yeah. You can just throw that as an end coda onto most things
Also-
Jack and I say to each other when we've had a few.
Well, 2 things. Number one, Sisu is by far our most downloaded episode of this year. So thank Jack for being on our episode. Even though you didn't use headphones when you talked to us, so it was really fun for us to edit. And then also,
fault. You cut him off mid-story, motherfucker.
We should have told him. Yeah,
you
yeah.
should have told him. Jack, you're the best. He's not listening to this. And then
No, he's not. He's never going to listen.
And then when he says, I think about 3 morons getting drunk once a week, that's like British culture to a T. Like a Brit saying this to us, I feel like that's fucking high praise. I feel like that's a dream come true. What are you gonna do when you're in high school? What are you gonna do when you grow up? It's like, I just hope I get to get drunk with my mates every week. Like, what a fucking high praise.
Every week, Jeff, you're being kind. If ideally for most British men, I think it's every night. I think if we're gonna be able to go to the pub and enjoy ourselves
But
most
also, like,
evenings
but also,
of the
like,
week, that is an ideal
Let's go to
British
the pub
existence.
for a pint.
Well, he's at that wall potty training.
Just
so
a
like,
pint.
I think having a family and once a week is fair. It's fair.
I'm so that was
I haven't
fun.
even
I'm
seen
glad it
either
came
of you
on.
in fucking ever in person.
I know. I haven't seen either of you guys in person for a long time either.
John, I still have your beer. I
thank
still have your
you.
beer mood
not
from
since we
Christmas 2 years
dropped in
ago.
LA.
I got to see Dave in person.
I'm going to
when him
LA
and
for
Therese came
Christmas.
through.
Are you going to be? Are you going to
And
be
we
there
almost
after
gave you
Christmas?
COVID. Yes.
Maybe not literally on Christmas. That is like the one time a year that we're gone. Film fans, we're just talking to each other at this point.
Yeah. We fucked this episode.
You guys want to talk about Oppenheimer?
Yeah. Okay.
I do.
You wanna talk about Oppenheimer?
I don't think we need to set this up. You guys talk about it. I'm happy to. I'll just shoot some shit sometimes.
Dave,
Dude,
what'd you think, dude?
I was a little apprehensive going to see this because I know Nolan really goes to town, and my formative teenage years were during like.
Are you talking about Tenet? Are you referring
I'm not talking
to
about
Tenet?
No, not at all.
Tenet?
It's a throwback to episodes 100 to 160.
Yeah. No. It's just like I grew up during the nuclear crisis in the 80s, where it was like you wake up every morning as a teenager and you didn't need to be emo because they could push the button at any fucking day.
Yeah, because Australia was where they were headed for sure.
No, dude, there is a. You know what? Fuck you guys.
I fucking left.
Melbourne, Australia.
Go fuck yourselves. You stupid cunts.
I talk about a movie, and you're just being a fuckwit. And I'm sorry, no wonder you almost get punched out in bars, and I have to save you.
Oh
Jesus Christ! Okay,
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna come around to your house and fucking glass you later.
That's fine.
What's the name of that book series? In the end, that's not The Last of Us, but it's about the apocalypse, and they're on an Australian beach.
Yes.
It's like them. What's the name of that fucking book series? Nick Cage made a movie of it. At one
Really?
point.
I had to read that in like year 7 English.
Oh, it's so
How
famous.
fucking depressing to have to read that in year 7 English. Anyway,
Oh my God.
yeah, they're all basically sitting in Australia waiting for the radiation to come get them.
I see.
Sure.
Okay.
So yeah, can't imagine why I had a problem with nuclear weapons as a kid. And but I was very curious because
God.
he's like adamant about CG, like no CGI, minimal CGI. It's not no CGI. Well, actually, it is because they didn't use any computer-generated graphics. They just composited elements, which is not CGI. That's a different thing. So his claim for no CGI stands.
Can you break that down just as quickly, as efficiently as possible for people who have no idea what you're talking about?
They never generated a fireball. Every fireball you see in this fucking thing is real. And they've just composited various elements that they shot on camera over each other this happens a lot through the film, and it's a wonderful compositing job. They did a fantastic job of it.
Could you interchange the word composite for like layers, like they're layering shots on top of each other? Yeah. Okay.
But like CGI, you would just generate the entire explosion and then use compositing techniques to insert that into the shot, but the explosion wouldn't be filmed on camera. It's entirely computer generated. So that's the difference. And like he was adamant, and I watched the credits, and like D-Neg is in there, and there's 27 visual effects artists on this thing. You go and see Marvel film, there's like 3 fucking screens and 8 companies.
It's most of the
27
credits,
people. Yeah. So like it was very well done. I feel like
they had their notes 2 years in advance.
Yeah. No, they don't. They get their notes the day before they have to render it. But I have a bit of a mixed thing about this one, to be honest, because I feel like the first act was a bit of a mess. After that, I'll take the drink.
Yeah, take your fucking drink, bitch.
It's settled into
Part 2 episode.
Fucking
Here.
Aussie fucking bitch. You safe Aussie
Jesus.
bitch.
Okay, I'm just gonna mute you guys and just keep talking. Okay. It's after that it settled into the story, but like I feel like Nolan kind of relied on you knowing who these people were at first, because he's just introducing people. Like everyone knows Einstein. Great, Einstein gets introduced, and you know who that is. But
wait, who? Okay.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Okay.
I saw the trailer.
But like the senator, I knew nothing about, and like that didn't become apparent until way into the film what was going on there. And I guess that's by design, but like also when he was introduced, I got the feeling I was supposed to know who he was. But I feel like they kind of, in the introduction of some characters, they skipped over some bits, but when it settled into the method of getting it done and the effect of what happens of actually building this thing, and don't get me wrong, the bomb sequence was awesome and I would love to talk about it, but I really wanted to fuck Jeff up when he goes and watches it. So I made
I'll forget it.
It certainly fucked up my theater. Because that was the biggest thing. I was like, okay, well, he's doing this practically. He can't set off a nuke. What's he going to do? And the way this thing is done is filmmaking at its best. Because they just wait and they hold you. And you know what's coming. But they just hold you. And the tension is fucking palpable in my theater. And then all hell breaks loose. And my whole theater jumped back a row. Like, there was such great use of sound as well. I enjoyed this a lot, like much more than I would normally enjoy a historical narrative. This is very, very, very well made. And I would not be surprised if you see Oscar nominee in front of Robert Downey Jr.
I'm glad you said this.
I keep hearing his name with the... And
Dave, I'm glad you said this, because...
And Killian.
This is one of those films... Sorry, did you... Was it your wrap up?
Yeah, no, I think I just talked for the longest I've ever talked on this podcast.
Dave, shut the fuck up. Fucking drink. Dude, I'm so glad you said this, because it really said something to me when I was reflecting on walking away from this, which, by the way, I saw this very late at night. It's a 3-hour movie. It doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie. For me, it moves. It's
does
a long
if you need
movie.
to pee, but I didn't. But someone else did.
Sure. I planned ahead for sure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't like linger or make you feel like, what the fuck is happening?
No,
Like,
it's a fucking
this
ride.
movie cooks.
Yeah.
But I walked out of this theater after 2 a.m. And on my ride home, I was thinking, I caught myself thinking about the filmmaking. And not just because I'm a filmmaker. I think we have anybody who's a film fan at all has been nurtured by Chris Nolan's success as a filmmaker to think of Chris Nolan movies as Chris Nolan movies first. and you're thinking about why he's making it, how he's making it, what you're thinking about him. But I think there might be an argument. I'm not saying I feel this way, but I think one of the most successful aspects of this, and it reminded me of how I felt about Dunkirk, are the performances. It's almost like the filmmaking happens in spite of the performances sometimes.
Have you seen the interviews they did with everyone?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Getting the call from Chris Nolan to come and work on his film. Look up Florence Pugh's interview. He's like, oh, it's a really small role. She's like, I don't care.
Yeah, whatever you want, man. Yeah.
And Matt Damon had a clause like he was going to take a break from acting, and he was going to couples therapy with his wife apparently, and that was the clause was, I will take a break from acting unless Christopher Nolan calls.
Oh shit, that's so funny. And anyone who doesn't remember his really awesome turn in Interstellar that wasn't marketed at all surprised us all as Dr. Mann on the planet that they eventually went to. Really great.
Bastard.
So yeah, just in general, I just want to point that out because
what is it
it'll
with
make
Matt
sense.
Damon getting left on a planet?
He's always left everywhere.
He's cost the American government a lot of money.
He's always left other places, and he has to figure
That's
things
on the
out.
internet, people.
He
Look it
never
up.
knows
There's a dollar value of how much it's cost to rescue Matt Damon.
The Bourne movies
God, it's so
are a
funny.
lot, but
It's so
Interstellar and The Martian are more, for sure.
So I just mentioned that everybody in this movie, everybody, and one thing that never gets talked about in the interviews with Chris Nolan or about Chris Nolan are his directing style in terms of acting. There are two, and I've said these kinds of platitudes before on this show. I think I made the argument that the director's only real job is to make you feel something. That is like an ultimate abstract accomplishment of the director. Physically, literally, in terms of the job, like what's required of you on set and leading up to those moments, you are the only person who is in charge of the entire story, yes. But you're literally your only job when you're on set that you actually get to do that nobody else gets to do other than you. Your DP is helping you. Your cinematographer, director of photography is helping you frame and compose. They're talking with you about how you're going to edit ahead of time and how you capture shots. The only thing that you do that no one else does is work with actors. You're the only person in charge of performance. So does it help that you're hiring Academy Award winning actors, every nominated actors, the best of the best? Yeah, sure. So casting is such a huge part about it. But there's no way he didn't have really wonderful conversations with everybody. And I don't know how he directs on set, but I'm not lying. Every single person in this movie is pitch perfect in every moment.
All of the interviews have said he expects perfection on set. Bring your A game. And
it's unbelievable.
Just a quick side note. Cillian Murphy, dude, holy fuck!
I mean,
he was due. He was due.
Like, unreal how good he is. And now that we've said that,
it's like you're in the seventh inning and you bring out the wild thing. It's like
it's unbelievable. Yeah, he's remarkable.
Some people are going to get that reference.
I want us to point this out first because I think what most people are going to be thinking about when they watch Oppenheimer, and Jeff, I know you'll react to this because this was the thing that is foremost on my mind. Is that a candle?
I can't tell if this is leaking or not. You keep going, and I'll keep an eye on it.
Is that a candle?
No, it's a beer that was made out of. It's a beer mug that was made out of a baseball bat that I got as a gift, and it looks like it's. Do you see that dripping?
Fair warning, that should not be inserted anally.
Your bat is leaking. Yeah, that looks like a flesh. One of the fake. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about.
Oh my god, it's still going. I just wiped it. This is.
That's what she said.
It was a good gesture. The gift was a really good gesture.
What
were you saying? You were gonna ask me a question?
Yeah, sure.
Episode is messy.
Okay, so basically, what I walked away with more than anything else, and I God damn it, if you're a film nerd, I think you're going to really be able to get into this. So it's most obviously comparable to Dunkirk in what I'm about to talk about, which is his obsession and his seems to be like the way that he works narratively. He works in montage. The entire film is montage. And it's unique in saying that because it made me look back on all of his other work and it made me think about the way he thinks about structure. and how he works with things in a non-linear fashion often, and how he moves in and out of space and time. Like that's something that he works with all the time.
Yeah, I love Dunkirk, by the way. It might be my favorite Nolan movie. It might be.
I felt the same way, and I think you're going to respond to this one in a really good way too, because Dunkirk's success with montage like shook me. I had not seen a war movie told with that kind of playfulness, with manipulation of space, time, characters, emotion, and what it does to you. There is an argument to be made that he's gone a little too far with it in this one, just because it's kind of relentless from the jump. But when you back all the way up, the 3-hour perspective,
it took me a minute to figure out what was what.
He really jumps around, and he really plays with it a lot. And the obvious like go-tos of like what Oppenheimer is a younger person, the way he's envisioning this crazy what will happen when fusion and fission actually exist, and his visuals of those things, and they're beautiful, they're cinematic, but his reliance on it is apparent from the beginning. That said, what do I always say when we're talking about movies? The beginning teaches you how to watch something. The way he fucking spins that yarn using that montage language from beginning to end, by the ending moment, which is a powerful scene that gets planted early on in the movie, and in classic Nolan fashion, you're like, what happened there? And he makes a character literally say, what happened at that beginning conversation between two people? The payoff, it was extremely rewarding. I don't know about you, Dave, but by the time he got to that last moment, I was like, fuck me, dude. It's almost like prescient how he uses history to try to talk to us about our present and our future. It's fucking genius.
I'm predicting this will get a lot of
get out of here, Jeff. Go fucking fix your fucking.
There's a crack in my cup right here. There's a crack in my bat.
Get some tape.
There's a snake in my boots.
Let me just take this out of my
shut up, Jeff. I'm predicting this will get like actor noms like crazy. Editing, I would also think this.
How could it not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he write? Dave, do you think he wrote
sequence.
those? Do you think he wrote the moving back and forth with all of this montage?
I think he did.
God, that's crazy. How long do you think the screenplay was?
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing to bet that the original cut of this was like 4 hours.
Had to have been, right? Yeah.
Or maybe he wrote it so tightly it was fucking 3 hours on the dot, and that's what we got. Like,
unbelievable.
This is a person absolutely 100% in control. Like, this could be a best director right now.
I think I've said this to you guys on this, I know I've said it to you in person, but I think I've said it on this podcast. The fact that he didn't get for Dunkirk, I was like, shit, that may have been his chance. Like this one should be considered, dude. This one should be considered. It is I don't know. For me, I could just tell, like, I am in the hands.
I will also say though, like, for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, when you go and see it, the second half of this movie is fucking terrifying. Like, it goes into a horror genre almost, and they start manipulating light and manipulating sound, and because holy fuck, the sound mix as well. It's gonna be up for that.
For sure. I've even seen
the technical achievements are unbelievable. But everything they do. Are you talking about within the Trinity sequence?
Not just the Trinity sequence. Like in the interview when he starts seeing, it's almost like the bomb went off outside.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like every time he's stressed, he sees that. Because he was fucked up by it. Like
the day of his speech at the end of the day to the Trinity
that's
crowd
the horror
Los
film
Alamos.
thing. Yeah.
So all right. So
that was horrifying.
Basically,
that was the second jump scare in like 10 minutes in this film.
This film is designed in a surprising way. So again, spoilers. Sorry, Jeff, but spoilers. Go see this. But this film builds for the first half. The midpoint is basically the bomb.
Yeah.
And it is incredibly fulfilling. It's cathartic. It's like, coming.
Holy fuck, they got to this already?
It's unreal. And then the last half of this movie is, pardon the pun, the fallout. And it's Oppenheimer's fallout. And I didn't know anything about his history after the bomb. So I'm sure people who are older than me, maybe my parents, certainly our grandparents' generation, if they're still with us, they know because they lived through it. And I think this was fairly public, the way he tried to hang on to his reputation, how he existed within the Atomic Energy Council Commission, And then the fallout after that, when we started going into latter halves of the Cold War, Dave's childhood, into the 70s and 80s, when people started thinking of this differently, the existence of the hydrogen bomb comes into this, the origin and the fight between the atomic and the hydrogen. So there's so many aspects of this that are more than just Los Alamos and the making of the atom bomb. And that is what is maybe the most refreshing part about this, is that it actually does become a historical biopic.
That's the thing,
in the
though,
hands
as well.
of Chris Nolan.
They could have like just done that.
Yeah,
but
another director would have just done that.
Like
for sure,
and
they just would have told the history.
They could have made that but they could have made that the pinnacle of the film, and they didn't.
The explosion.
They sat it in the middle, and they fucked with you.
Yeah,
like they fucked with your expectations in the way that was delivered, and that was perfect.
It is perfect.
Like I've seen that flash in my dreams so many times because of the threat that was there.
Dave.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The threat in Melbourne, Australia, it was real, wasn't it, brother?
They can hit us. We had American nuclear sites down there. Sorry, I just
you're not wrong. I'm kidding. I'm fucking. I'm kidding.
Yeah, like we were a target.
That's right. There's a lot of people in South Carolina who really think ISIS is coming for them. So I totally understand.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of people in like random states that think the government's coming from them. So,
so anyway, the filmmaking is remarkable, and I think we all could expect that. I was surprised, as I always am, and it's so wonderful that the actors are so excited to be on set and bust their fucking ass to bring every moment to reality. Because I just want to make this clear. These actors, I don't think they know this, even though if you're a fan of Chris Nolan's film, you might know this, but they're all working within montage. There are no really long, lengthy, let's settle down and breathe with these characters for 7 or 8 minutes in a long scene. It doesn't exist that way. They're working from moment to moment, and he's directing them in that way. The way he covers it, the way he films
scenes,
it. Yeah. Honestly, maximum 5-minute scenes. So initially, it feels a little exhausting.
The one thing I did love was the Einstein payoff. I'm glad we got that.
Of course, and that's kind of what I was referring to earlier. So I don't want to overshine Cillian because he's pitch perfect in this.
But Emily Blunt, holy fuck!
Emily Blunt is always. I think she's a rock star. She's always a rock star in my book. What I want to celebrate the most, though, out of all the actors, is you could not have planned this better. This is the perfect transition for Robert Downey Jr. Away from superheroes and back into mature adult men in real life stories.
Dude, when I first saw him made up,
he's perfect.
I thought it was Alan Arkin.
Sure. I mean, you name them, any of the greats. He's masterful. He doesn't lean on the RDJ charisma and charm.
No.
It's not about that. It's not about quirks.
He's the fucking villain.
It's not about... It is, God damn it, he's so fucking good in it. I just can't... I'm so excited to watch what he does next.
Yep.
But just in case we need to say it, everything you're looking for, listener, from a movie about a fucking nuclear bomb, you're going to get it.
Yep.
Like, the payoffs that you're paying money for are going to fucking... You're going to scream. You're going to jump. You're going to be blown away, literally, visually, and orally.
The sound mix in this is amazing. This is well worth the price of an IMAX ticket. 100%.
Oh my God!
Also,
I literally heard...
I did not know it was possible to do those close-ups because I've never seen anyone use an IMAX camera correctly.
The focus puller in this was working their ass off because there is so much coverage in this movie.
Yeah,
where there are a lot of classic,
but they're working on
PTA.
A fucking IMAX frame.
I know. It was a giant frame. And just in case anyone doesn't know this, a lot of focus pullers don't work with a monitor. So these people are literally an assistant to the camera operator. Dave didn't. Yeah, Jeff didn't. Just to explain, they are people who have this thing that is connected to the camera.
That's why there were 13
and based on feeling and measurements, they are moving the focus adjustment on the camera as the camera moves to and from the subject. There are a lot of slow push-ins in this film that are divided out way. They can be an hour away from each other in terms of montage. The way they're edited.
Christopher Nolan does not do push-ins in post either. That's in camera.
No. This is all in camera.
Post. Push-ins in post, he says.
And this is the last little anecdote that I'll say, just because I almost turned around and said something. there were a lot of people who, as we talked about in our previous episode, when I was in Burbank and I was watching this fucking plethora of human beings who were there to see Barbie that day. There were a lot of people to see Oppenheimer too, but most people were there to see Barbie. And there was a couple behind me who had sounded like film fans. They didn't sound like, every now and then people. They sounded like they knew who Chris Nolan was. And the boyfriend, I assume he was the boyfriend. It sounded like they were not on their first date. It sounded like they knew each other really well. And she says to her boyfriend, she was like, all right, so be honest though, which one would you have seen if I didn't ask to go see Barbie first? And he said, probably Oppenheimer. And she said to him, a film fan, it sounded like she was knowledgeable of movies. She said, I know, I can't wait to see it, but it's just so long. I just would rather wait and see that at home on my TV by myself.
Oh, no, I can't see long movies at home. I was so
like,
much better to see it.
I was turned around. I was like, come on. You're here paying money to see a movie. Like
next thing you know, we're bailing John out.
He did not make a movie about a fucking nuclear bomb for you to go home and watch on your own time so you could pause and walk away on your tiny television sound system.
If you've taken the time to shoot this on IMAX, not framed for IMAX on a regular camera, if you've taken the time to shoot this in IMAX, go and see it on a fucking IMAX screen.
He shot this with IMAX. You know what I mean? Like, that's how, like...
Literally. Remember I told you guys that story about the headquarters guys, and they were all like, half of our shit at any given moment.
Making a movie.
Half of our equipment is rented out to
guys,
fucking
he's making
Chris
a movie.
Nolan.
Can you imagine everybody's like, guys, he's making a movie?
The one thing I love that came out about this, I was sending you guys updates all week, was the guy who booked that fucking A15 seat, and IMAX went and found him. Because someone was like, what madman booked the single seat in the front row at a fucking IMAX?
People followed him home. And he's never going to be able to sit in that seat again.
No, they fucking found him. They turned up and they gave him a commemorative plaque with like IMAX stuff all over it.
I just want to point, last thing since we're nerding out about IMAX, I just want to point this out for anybody who's a hardcore technophile. The obvious giant set pieces, the beautiful shots of the desert, wide landscapes, obviously the giant fireball that you're going to get, right into your fucking face. What amazed me the most was that IMAX it's a very large sensor, folks. The sensor on this camera is much bigger, so they can print large 70 millimeter film with a lot more information. That's just the gist of it. The everyday shots, Dave, that scene where Emily Blunt goes and finds him in the woods after a tragedy happens, it's just an everyday shot in the woods in an early morning light, and it is pristine. Just seeing them apply that camera to what are not just giant fireballs, but the entire movie of his everyday pedestrian life in and out of just life as a scientist, classrooms. I mean,
as a cinematographer, like I almost, I'm shooting something in September. And I almost got my hands on an Arri, but I feel like if anyone turned up and offered me an IMAX camera, I'd just fucking die.
I mean, it made me think like just the technical challenges that you have to when you're shooting on IMAX and how. It just culminated for me. I was like, this man is so technically aware of everything he's doing that choosing to shoot with that camera in all of these scenarios and the work that goes into post-production on getting all the ADR and everything involved and the how willing and happy the actors were to do all this work. It's a cinematic achievement.
Now they've got digital ones. It's not as much ADR. You can actually record sound on set because the digital ones.
Is that different? And that's a big leap from Dunkirk, where they weren't able to do that.
Yeah. Well, they had them on a beach, so it's like you can't record sound on the beach anyway.
You can't, but very famously in that interior ship scene with all the young soldiers where they're getting shot through the hole, they couldn't use any of the recorded sound.
Yeah.
So that's why so much of it is quiet. It's mise en scène. They're all like trying to keep quiet and do everything with behavior. All those sound effects had to be put in though. Yeah. I just can't say enough about this. It was I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. There are issues that I think people have rightly with this film and the storytelling, but ultimately it doesn't take away from what he's achieved. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. The buildup was worth it. This is a magnificent, large, epic film from one of our most talented filmmakers now, not based on pre-existing IP. It's not from a franchise. It's not from a fucking toy company. I recommend you go see this.
Just a book.
Just a book about a nonfiction person that anybody could have, right? I mean, like, there's probably tons of books on him.
I feel like we should wrap this up and move on to the thing we're supposed to be doing this summer.
Guys, I can't wait to see that movie in 2 weeks. All right, we are now going to hear some Dasein music. We got a couple more voicemails coming, of course, so stay tuned for those. But we are going to continue on with our journey in our summer box office face off. Guardians of the Galaxy against Jurassic World. One can advance. The other can go fuck itself. See you guys soon.
Shit. I gotta pee again. Jesus Christ. I broke the seal.
Man. And we're back. I just want to bring up as a tail end to our conversation. I haven't heard anybody talk about this, but it made me wonder. Chris Nolan left Warner Brothers with Tenet.
Yeah.
He had been
HBO
with
Max
them.
thing, because the Max thing.
He had been, yes. So he had been with them for years and years and years, folks. They basically brought him on board from Insomniac, and he had been with them ever since, like a Clint Eastwood contract. Like, you make movies here. He's on the history of the Warner Brothers documentary that I talked about. It's all there.
Make movies,
And
they
then
have to have an orangutan.
And then when Discovery fucking bought the Warner Entertainment, or whatever they call themselves now, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's Warner Brothers Discovery.
Thank you, Warner Brothers
David
Discovery.
Zaslav's
It's in the
company.
background of fucking The Office in Barbie.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
So they if everybody remembers, there were only a couple filmmakers, most famously Chris Nolan and Denis Villeneuve, who were very upset that they announced as Warner Discovery that we're going to release all of our big cinematic pieces right onto the streaming service, so you don't have to go to the theater because of the pandemic, and he got upset, so he moved with Tenet.
I believe Christopher Nolan said,
Here's my middle finger. You can go fuck it. So anyway, Universal was the studio behind Oppenheimer. And it just made me wonder, do you think Warner Brothers, as a very, very personal fuck you, scheduled Barbie to come out the same weekend as Oppenheimer?
I don't. Mainly because Warner Brothers recently has expressed a desire and the intention to get Christopher Nolan back.
Okay, probably a good idea.
But do you
Yeah.
think
'Cause he's
that
a
they also
tentpole.
wanted to say...
It's the first not bonehead decision they've made in years.
Because it just seems too coincidental that they released their biggest movie of the summer on the
Guys-
same weekend that Chris Nolan releases his.
So Mission
his
Impossible
big
came out last week. What's coming
masterpiece.
out next week?
Yeah.
Nothing. Oppenheimer's getting
so-
2 weeks in IMAX.
Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Let's move on. But I just it made me wonder when I walked out of the theater.
All right,
Okay.
people, we are ready to talk about the movie that said, Chris Pratt, we love you. We love you lighter. We love you fitter, but we love you so much. Here we go. We're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy first, which will soon take on
Yes.
Jurassic World later in the segment. But highest grossing
Before
movie
we
of t-
do,
Oh, we got another.
I feel like we need to finally hear from our brother podcast, the Matt and Mark Movie Show,
Oh, this is the time. All right, let's do it.
for our 200th
There's some
episode.
Crocs on the track. Here we
Wished us
go.
well.
They're probably wearing Crocs,
Mark,
too.
guess what's happening this week? You will never guess. You will never guess, Mark. It's nothing to do with the Ocean Gate submersible.
Damn.
It is nothing to do with Barbenheimer. There is another internet phenomenon that is happening right now, Mark. It is the 200th fucking episode. The 200th episode. That's a number 2. 200th episode of the Love of Cinema podcast. Give it up for our brothers over at the Love of Cinema podcast. And you know,
I'm going to pause at this point because I want to point out that we asked for a 30-second voiceover if they wanted to send us something nice.
What are we at so far?
36 seconds in. Grab yourselves in, guys. This goes on for a while.
we're not making
I love
this message just congratulatory. It's also a contemplative message, Mark, because I wanted to ask you, what do you think when you think Love of Cinema? Dig deep. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say, Mark, what do you think of the Love of Cinema?
You know what? I'm going to go sappy. And because I met John in person a long time ago, and then through this show was able to meet Dave and Jeff. So I'm going to say,
never meet your
when
idols.
I think of them, I think of friends. And I think they're an awesome group of guys. I love hearing their podcasts. They're very intelligent. And I aspire to be like them sometimes because I'm a fucking idiot.
Wow. I do also aspire to be
200.
like that. That's very sweet, Mark.
to be
When I think
drunk.
of Love of Cinema, this is what I think of. I think of the goddamn buzzer from their show and how I wish I could buzz them every week because we love them, but they're they're wrong a lot. They recently took Ghostbusters and both Shrek movies out of their summer movie bracket to piss everyone off, but I still love them. They are still the fucking bomb. Okay, yes, I'm using 90s terminology. Love of Cinema is debomb.com.
We just talked about Oppenheimer.
We love you boys. Congratulations. Justice for Shrek. And I hope we can all reunite one day to have plenty of drinks, booze it up, and celebrate your 200th. Now go ahead and review Shrek 3 so you guys can crap all over it, and I can go like this.
Matt, when you finally meet them, and you have to wear a Shrek shirt.
I'm not only going to wear a Shrek shirt, I'm going to wear a Shrek. I'm going to wear a Shrek G-string. Okay? And I'm going to fully have tearaway clothing. I'm going to tear it away. And I'm just going to run. I'm going to go streaking with a Shrek G-string. Lobby. That's what I'm going to do. Okay? Happy 200th, guys.
Take a bow, you fucking asshole. Oh, that's so
no, I just
good,
want to
dude.
say, I just have to say, not the weirdest fucking thing they sent us.
Oh no, there's another one?
Not the weirdest, I'm not even going to try and describe this, but
this might have just been for me, and I thought it was
love
their
of
thing.
fucking cinema. I just want to wish you happy 200 fucking episodes.
I feel attacked.
I also want to say, what do I think of you? I think of a bunch of goddamn drunks, and I don't know why I'm turning into a goddamn fucking stupid hick. Jesus Christ, I gotta get my truck lifted. And then on my goddamn radio, I'm gonna listen to the fucking Love of Cinemas.
What are they talking about?
Totally right. I'm gonna do that too. My name's
This turned up. I
just finished driving my truck and taking a big truck shit in the truck stop.
What is this?
But after I'm done not wiping my ass, I'm gonna listen to the Love of Cinemas.
Jeff's gone.
What is
Oh my God.
happening?
Matt and Mark, take a fucking bow.
Did they?
Jesus Christ. I think
Yeah.
we just got them some listeners from the other side of the tracks on
Yeah.
movie commentary.
We just lost
It's
some listeners who
waiting
walked
for you.
right on over to them.
People just stop that episode.
They're
God,
trending
that
in.
is so
they're trending
funny.
in Saudi Arabia.
Just in
again,
case
so
anyone's
can you
thinking about
tell
switching
why?
over, that's what they're like all the time.
in the
Guys.
best way possible. Just non-fucking stop.
So funny.
And I love that we told him 30 seconds and it went for 2 fucking minutes because
Twice.
like just like famous comedian Billy Connolly, they lose their track and they go off on fucking tangents and sometimes they come back and sometimes they don't. I've done it on this show. We all do it. It's contagious. But yeah,
I've never
love
done
those guys.
Thanks, Matt and Mark.
Never
Okay, can we
I don't
please
do
talk
that.
about these movies? Can we get into this?
What can
You
we
guys
talk
are the
about
best.
after
I'm in a
that?
full sweat. Guys,
Full sweat.
we're in the year 2004. Thank you
that
for
dude?
segueing
He's-
into
he's,
2014.
Cheers, you guys.
Is
You know
Southern
what?
voiceover
Cheers.
got you hot? What?
200, Matt and Mark, they gave it up for us.
Yep.
Mm.
Okay.
The other internet phenomenon. You fucking
All
right.
right.
Cheers, motherfuckers.
2014. John, what movies made some money at the domestic box office in 2014?
All right, you're going to hear a lot of fucking movies with familiar names to what we've been talking about. We are healthily, definitely into this superhero franchise world, especially Marvel. So, number 2,
It's the end of them being good.
the next fucking Hunger Games movie comes out again in the fall, just like the other ones. This is Mockingjay, I guess, part 1.
Dude, I still can't believe part 2 went where it did.
Sure.
But anyway,
yeah. These are super successful and it's still there. So that's number 2 behind Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 3, and this was a surprise to me looking back, Captain America the Winter Soldier. This is the second Captain America movie. And what a lot of people argue as one of the better, if not best, standalone movies. So
Funny story.
non-Avenger movies in the Marvel phases 1 through 4.
So funny story. I went and saw this just after I'd been given the talk by a girl I was seeing about how it just wasn't really going to work out. And I hated this movie when I first fucking watched it. I had to rewatch it
Oh, wow.
later. Yeah, because I was
I
in
remember
such a
her,
fucking
by the
bad
way.
mood. Yeah. Now we all remember.
Good,
her. I talked
good
about
job
it.
for getting out of
I
that
don't.
motherfucker. Jesus
don't.
Christ.
I met you right
That
after.
was a mistake. Some people should not be near each other. Yeah.
You made it though. You lived. You
Yes.
got rid of it. Number 4, the Lego movie. Holy shit.
Everything
is
is
that Mattel?
awesome.
Who makes fucking Legos? Hasbro? Mattel? Who fucking
Legos?
Lego.
Do they just
are
make
made by
themselves?
Their
Lego.
own thing, yeah.
All right. So the first of the toy movies, I guess, really breaking in there. There have been a few G.I. Joes before that, but this Lego movie fucking broke through. Number 4 for that year.
There's now Lego Star Wars, Lego fucking everything. Like, they created their own
crazy.
like universe.
Number 5, Transformers: Age of Extinction.
Don't remember
Don't
it
remember
at all.
this one, boys.
Yeah.
Number 6. That may have been the one where I was like, I don't know what's happening on screen right now.
Yeah.
There were so many fights happening all over the world, and I just didn't know what was happening.
That was the
number
one where they
6.
phased out Megan Fox, I think.
Goodbye, Megan Fox. Sorry. Maybe it's best
she
for
had
you
Ninja
to have
Turtles.
left that. She had Ninja Turtles. You're right. Number 6, Maleficent. So
I never
kind
saw
of
it.
Disney beginning
saw it.
to like make
I saw
their
most of it.
reimaginings of their live action versions of their famous
This
animated
is what
features.
started it? Oh,
No, I don't think it was the first, but I think it was one of the first. Number 7, X-Men: Days of Future Past. Anyone who's a big fan of those,
That's a good
that one did pretty well.
Yeah.
yeah, that
number
was
8?
that was after the first class thing. That was the second one, I think, in the new cast. But they brought in Wolverine.
Yeah, they did. After it was like, go fuck yourself at the bar.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
Best cameo ever.
Yeah, it was really good. Number 8, The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. If you're going to watch a Hobbit movie and you don't want to watch the other 2, this one is pretty good. It's got a giant battle at the end of it. It's worth watching. I enjoyed that one a lot.
I have the
Number
extended
6.
edition of that too. Never seen it.
So I think you have them all. I'm just going to assume since you bought them and didn't watch
I
any of them.
buzzed myself. Shit.
You have to drink.
I said number 6 when I meant number 9. I said number 6 because number 9 is Big Hero 6. Fucking Pixar, dude. They just
Never
do
saw
not
it.
let up, dude. They are ready to rock. I've never seen it either, and I heard it was actually really entertaining.
I
Oscar for
probably
best
should-
animated film.
Yeah, I probably should watch that.
And number
And number 10, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Mr. Matt Reeves.
Okay,
Matt
that I've
Reeves?
seen.
It's Matt Reeves, right? Who made the Batman?
Was it?
Yeah, he made Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely did.
So
yeah.
this was his first, after Cloverfield, this was his first
Nice.
gigantic movie that led him through this trilogy.
And he nailed it. That was a great first step. Like, well,
What I might be
Like-
lying to you. Did he only make the sequels?
So other movies that made a lot of money internationally. I mean, what's funny
Yeah,
is this
Jeff,
is
continue.
recently I talked about America was making
Finally
up
out of
half the
that.
budget, but this is really
No, it was
like
Matt
where
Reeves.
international
It was Matt Reeves.
stuff is blowing up. So like Transformers, for instance, is the #1 movie that made $1 billion. 3/4 of its money was made overseas because you don't need to understand
Yes.
English to not know what that movie's about. Hobbit, same thing. Like
Might be
3/4
best
of its
if you
money
don't understand English.
was made overseas. So that's happening. But you also have like the Godzilla remake with Bryan Cranston, which was John.
Oh,
We saw
yes.
Oh yeah, we had a funny.
Oh my God,
Jeff and I
that was
ate.
fun.
Did we eat edibles before we went to that?
It
or
was
did we just
strong,
smoke?
whatever it was. And that Godzilla, every time it went, they did a reveal every time you saw it.
We
It
were
was
that
like-
motherfucker in A15. We were way too close to the front
we
of
were
like
way
a
too
Dolby
close.
cinema.
And
We
it
were
was-
just like
Godzilla was so big. It was so big.
so many tilt
Inter-
shots.
Yeah.
Looking up.
it's like when you have to go and see a chiropractor after a
my
movie, you've
God.
sat in the wrong fucking seat.
Oh my god.
It did like a roll up of the spine every time you saw it. Like you never saw its eyes until it like rolled up. It was weird. Interstellar
Oh, it's like
made a lot
Ghost
of money
Rider
this
2,
year.
Oh,
where they introduced Ghost Rider like you've never fucking seen him before. Like,
Lucy made a lot of
don't
money.
you talk
Gone
about fucking
Girl.
Ghost Rider on this podcast.
Gone
It's a
Girl
Nick
made
Cage
$350.
film.
Edge of Tomorrow made a lot of money. Noah made
Edge of Tomorrow,
definitely
that's
too much
fun.
money. 22 Jump
Edge of
Street.
Tomorrow's awesome.
I'm sorry, did you say Noah?
Yeah, that's right. Buzz it. Yeah, fucking buzz
Should we
that shit.
refer people
Yeah,
to our
Just-
hilarious
we should
drunken
probably-
episode?
It is one of our most downloaded episodes, funnily enough.
Wait, but I
God,
want to
that's
talk
funny.
Hold on. I want to talk about these movies. So you have The Maze Runner and Divergent, both of
Maze-
which made like around $300 million. which
Maze Runner is better
worldwide.
than Divergent.
Sure.
Just saying.
22 Jump Street made $331 million worldwide.
Shouldn't
The
have.
Fault
It
in
was
Our
terrible.
Stars. The Fault in Our Stars made $300 million, and Neighbors made
broke
270.
a lot of people.
So all of these movies are going straight to streaming right now.
The
But in the
Fault in Our
past, they were making
Stars.
$300 million, right? This is the first
That's
time since
crazy.
1997 that no animated movies were in the top 10 because Big Hero 6 was not in the top 10 internationally. It came in at number 11. And this is the year of the Sony hack, and The Interview was supposed to come out around Christmas. That was this year. This is the year
We
of the
watched that,
Oscars.
didn't we?
That was
at
our
least
420 movie.
At least three
No,
quarters
well,
of it.
it wasn't.
We watched like
It was-
three
it was
quarters
our
of it. and
Blizzard-
I got
It was our
tired.
Blizzard movie.
No, well, that was one of them. Interstellar was the other one. I remember that vividly.
Yes, I remember those as well.
LSD.
We did not. I did not have LSD. Okay, Birdman won 3 Oscars. Inarritu, they won 4, but Inarritu
You
won
know,
3.
okay, confession time. I've never seen the end of Birdman.
The end.
Dave.
I own it.
You're in the middle
I've
of
never
a
seen
take.
the end of it.
What is up with you having these movies if you're not going to finish them? So Inarritu actually won 3. Won picture,
bored me.
director, and screenplay. Okay. Boyhood was this year. The Grand Budapest Hotel won 1 million Oscars. American Sniper was this year. Imitation Game,
Dude,
Selma.
I
Dude,
had a
everything,
conversation in
Whiplash.
West Palm Beach at a film festival with the kid from Boyhood.
Oh, yeah,
I
you said
had
that's
no
cool.
idea who he was. I was just shooting the shit, and someone's like, "You know who that was, right?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck, I said some things."
Oh, he was a nice kid. Okay. Eddie Redmayne.
Dave, you know
beat-
what else? Sorry, finish your.
Guys, can I get through this fucking thing? Every
Yeah,
single week
yeah.
you say I take
For
too
the
long
love
with
of
this,
God.
and then
Yeah,
God
no,
I
damn
have
it.
anecdotes.
I gotta
Fuck
work
you.
in the morning, and you motherfuckers, there's part 2 here. Eddie Redmayne beat off Michael Keaton for the most awards. of
Beat
the
him
night.
off.
Or
Could
the-
you
of
have
the-
said that differently? What is the fucking... They had a beach off.
They beached off, yeah. Julianne Moore, Barbie reference, but Julianne Moore wins for is it Still Alice? Is that what that's called? She does a clean
Yeah.
sweep. Note: Alec Baldwin played the husband of 2 best actresses in a row because he was
Back to back.
Kate
right?
Blanchett's wife in Blue Jasmine and Julianne Moore's husband. It was, you know what I mean.
And didn't get
In
up on
Still
a
Alice.
single charge, just like Rust.
Okay, yeah, that's
Oh my
that's
God.
a good character.
I'm fucking
No,
pissed
it's
about that.
pretty
so-
good.
Come on, some dark humor.
But did you want him to get charged or not? I mean, he had nothing
He
to do with
ignored the
props.
rules.
I saw her. I saw
No,
her
no,
He's not-
gravestone.
he has nothing to do with
At
the
the,
props. He's a producer,
No,
yeah, but he's an
no.
actor.
I'm sorry. When you bring a gun on set, you hand it to the actor, and you both inspect the chamber. It's the rules. They
Okay,
didn't
you're
do
right, you're
it.
probably right.
Nobody did it.
We're gonna
Somehow
cut
he's
this
okay.
section of the episode.
This is
No,
definitely
fuck
going to
it.
get fucking
Put that out there.
That is good to know, actually, because you're right. That doesn't get talked about very often.
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons is a clean sweep for Whiplash, even though
Deserved.
Ethan Hawke in Boyhood and Ed Norton in Birdman were awesome. That was a
Fuck
really
those
good
guys.
category.
Deserved.
She's Dave. Are you going to comment on every fucking category?
You're
This
reading
is-
them,
This is
aren't you?
usually what we do. Jesus Christ.
You insist on going through these, and you want me to
Again,
not just
no,
sit there
keep
and listen?
going. Anything else you want to
Shut
say?
the fuck up, Dave.
J.K. Simmons is. I already read this one. Patricia Arquette does a clean sweep for Boyhood. Imitation Game won adapted screenplay. Graham Moore. Big Hero 6 we already talked about. Fucking Grand Budapest talked about. Whiplash is great this year. I actually, believe it or not, I sat Damien Chazelle in his booth, and Emma Stone walked in. That's right. After fucking Whiplash, I witnessed Emma Stone's meeting, essentially, with Damien Chazelle for La La Land. I fucking witnessed it, people. I sat them. They know me. Interstellar won Best Visual Effects. Whiplash won Film Editing. Snowpiercer, Get On Up, Skeleton Twins, Fury, Inherent Vice, Wild, John Wick, the original John Wick. Those are the movies I want to shout out. Anything else you want to talk about, guys?
No, I'm not allowed to talk, apparently.
Anything else?
My 2 favorite movies of the year, for sure, are Her. Spike Jonze's Her,
I forgot to mention that. That's in here somewhere.
That was a good one.
and Dallas Buyers Club, which I think you did mention. But
Dallas Buyers Club was definitely last year because I talked about Jared Leto and fucking Matthew McConaughey winning
All right,
Oscars.
let's
for it
get
last
into
year.
these movies.
shit, was it really? My bad. Her,
So, what do you guys
yeah.
think of Guardians of the Galaxy?
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb before he starts talking about it because I'm going to pimp you into it, Dave. Dave, I would bet money that this is your favorite of the first generation, phases 1 through 4 of Marvel movies. Am I right?
Well, wait. Do I want to bet on this? Do I want to bet against it? Okay. Oh, he really liked the first Iron Man.
Safely top 3, but I think it's your number 1.
I think it's Guardian, which is funny because he just said he hated it. I'll take your bet, John. I'll take your bet, and I'll say Iron Man 1 is Dave's favorite.
What are you betting?
Okay. Dignity. We'll take a shot. I have my tequila right here. How about
Fuck,
that?
I gotta teach kids in the morning. Okay, Dave, what is it?
It's Guardians.
God,
Fuck
fucking damn it.
yeah. Fucking Frankie, you little bitch. Drink. We need that DJ horn. Oh, yeah, baby. I knew it.
Yeah. No, this came out of nowhere, man. It was like when they released the fucking Hooked on a Feeling trailer, I was hooked from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it was something I'd never seen before. James Gunn came in and introduced characters that had never been introduced before. They went full galaxy cosmic.
Cheers. I'll do it with you.
Yeah. And this was the shit. I went and saw this, and I wasn't even in the best mood, and I still walked out loving this fucking film. I've watched it many times.
You had a fucking wire hanger in your mouth when that boom, when the Guardians of the Galaxy pops up and he's dancing at the bottom on the like, come on, everybody is fucking smiling their ass off when that fucking crawl on the title sequence is fucking bottom to top, Guardians of the Galaxy with hey. I mean, it's not fair. It's almost not fair.
Absolutely not fair.
That soundtrack
where
is.
does it get off picking such a fucking good soundtrack? But no, this was James Gunn finding his. Like, I was a fan of Gunn before. Slither is a fucking amazing film.
Slither, because of Trauma, because of those earlier things. Shout out to our episode on Jeff, help me out. The Avenger, Toxic Avenger.
Toxic
we
Avenger.
did an episode on that, right?
Well, we did it on this
wasn't because of that. It wasn't.
We did this podcast, and we had Matt. That was where we met Matt for the first time.
Yeah.
Listen to that episode.
That was where I fucked Matt up. It was bad.
We talked about American Graffiti and Toxic Avenger. You know, like everybody does.
That was when we were doing the. That was when we were doing the positive negative thing, and I rolled negative.
That was the best we've ever done it. I think
I had to bitch out a movie I liked.
So you knew. You knew of James Gunn pretty consciously coming into this.
Yeah, because Slither is fucking amazing. I'm not a fan of Super 8. But like Slither is like a not Super 8. What did he do in Super 8? I'm sorry. Not Super 8.
Not Super 8, because JJ did that.
Super.
I think it's just called Super. It's a superhero film he did beforehand.
I love
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your perception on like, because again, I'm always interested in talking to people who are hardcore Marvel fans about Guardians because, Dave, I had no idea they existed.
Yeah, right.
I had heard of the other characters. They always so famously say they're so proud of the fact that like Iron Man, like nobody really cared about him. Thor, but I knew who those characters were. I just didn't know anything about them.
Like I
did not know the Guardians existed.
Well, see, my whole career up to that point was entirely DC, so I had no idea about Guardians either. And then this trailer came out, and I'm like, this is a fucking awesome song. The trailer's great. I'm excited about this. Like this, it got me excited. It was the best fucking trailer edit I'd seen in years. And so when it came time to go and see the movie, I was in.
And again, just to remind people, a more dramatic Marvel movie, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, came out on April 4th, first week of April. This movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, comes out first week of August, so the Memorial Day weekend.
First week of August is nothing.
I walked out of that
September,
floating on air.
September.
First week of August is literally nothing. It's kind of next week, even though next week is still July. It's like, it's nothing.
It's nothing. Everybody goes on holiday.
Wait, this was their B team, though. Marvel admitted they literally had a backup plan in case this didn't work. So they literally put this later in the season.
Yeah.
This is 2000.
They had no idea this was going to be what it was. And
2014. I feel like another. You said Winter Soldier, so there was like that was like their A team movie of this year.
You got fucking Vin Diesel to just say I am Groot.
He's the second bill on IMDb. Now IMDb's not everything.
It's fucking crazy. He probably got paid his entire fucking quote for this movie.
Bradley Cooper probably spent a week. I don't know, but he, you know.
I mean, Bradley Cooper nailed it as well.
Agreed.
Was this the first time that we saw? Because Chris Pratt has a small role in Her, one of my favorite films from this year as well.
He's in Moneyball. He's in other things, but
I don't remember him in Her at all.
This and Jurassic World coming out in back-to-back years was just like, what the fuck? And he's in the Lego movie, which also I think.
Well, Guardians Guardians pushed him through the fucking roof.
This was his first like leading man role.
So he talked about this. Apparently, they like. I hate the numbers game when they're like they interviewed 7,000. Like they weren't going to interview nobodies. But they like seriously considered apparently like 30 people for this role. And that's again, this isn't this isn't like somebody who's a waiter. This is like people who are in shows, people who are in movies. They probably interviewed, people who are now huge stars. And this fucking guy from Parks and Rec, and yes, I made the joke earlier on, but they did say, like, look, we feel like you could actually, like, be a football player. You could be the baseball player for Moneyball without the beer gut. Like, we are going to want you to be a superhero. But he was so funny and charming, especially from Parks and Rec more than anything else. And he was with CAA. God, and they were just like, fuck it, you're the guy. We got to do a little bit of work. We got to do a little bit of work on you, but you're the guy. You could be a movie star, dude. You could do this. And so they, like, took a shot. It took a shot.
Anyone who's a Parks and Rec fan for the season after this, because he got into amazing shape physically for this movie, and in the following season of Parks and Rec, they just solve it very quickly in like one line. I can't remember who's talking to him, but they're like, I think it's Aziz, and he's like, "What'd you do?" He's like, "I just stopped drinking beer." And you're like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, that's literally all I did."
I think there's something in that for all of us.
You know what else he did that nobody saw, but I saw this. He has a very small role in Jennifer's Body, but he is a really big role in the 5-year engagement. So the 5-year engagement is Jason with Segel. Jason, get the fuck out of here. All the white guy Jasons. Jason Segel and Emily Blunt are the leads, and then Emily Blunt's best friend is Allison Brie, and Chris Pratt plays her like goofy sidekick husband, who's also like the sous chef of Jason Segel. So he has this really fun. So anyway, he's been in these movies, but it's always been in this kind of comedic role. So like, can he be a comedic leading man? Anyway, we don't need to keep talking about this all day, but like, it seems so obvious now, but it really was like a huge shot.
But it wasn't just him though. It was like
correct.
Yeah, you've got Drax, you've got Gamora, you've like all of these people who should never ever get along. They hate each other.
Shouldn't have said yes. This is like, after Avatar. They shouldn't have said like, "Why are you going to paint me again?" You know what I mean?
Like at one point, Drax refers to Gamora as this green whore, and she's like, "Oh, you must stop." Like seriously, it's like a group of people who should not be on the same spaceship.
Yeah. And just to back up, as somebody who doesn't know anything about this, I was skeptical about it. And I think since then, they've leaned too much on the chemistry of them to carry some of their narratives. But this first time around, these vagabond, good for nothings getting together, they had a really specific assignment, I think, that they probably gave themselves. We need to have as much fun as we can. We need to have them define as much antagonizing, which the antagonizing between them will be the glue that pulls them together.
Who saves a fucking planet through a dance-off? Honestly.
Which is, super silly. But for me, and I think for a lot of people who weren't hardcore Marvelites, that were, allowing themselves to start investing emotionally into this giant world and universe of characters, if that ending had not been pulled off as successfully, where they transcended the humor, and they transcended that bantery, antagonistic narrative drive, and became something more that you needed all of them.
That was the point where I wished he'd dropped the F-bomb, but they waited till part 3 to drop the F-bomb.
They could have dropped it then.
The first F-bomb in Marvel, part 3.
Open the fucking door. It's so
they could have done it for sure.
It's the best gag ever.
I forgot. He also was in Zero Dark 30. He was one of the SEAL team members, so he had both. He wasn't as skinny, but that probably helped them be like, oh, he can actually like be a fucking monster.
There's some badassery though. It really worked. I'll tell you guys this. I'm at film school here in LA. I've never mentioned that before on this podcast. And there's a sure. Last year in one of our it was like a big giant, like all 60 people at once in a theater talking about feature screenplay structure. And this was his example for the big commercial superhero movies. Like, of course, you kind of can't escape them right now. So I got to watch this one on the big screen, and we kind of dissected it and how well it is, why it's so successful and why it is a standout in this superhero world that we live in right now, where every fucking movie has these plot points, and why this one seemed to find a way to have fun with them and also deliver them. Like it seemed to find this balance of, we're going to give you the arcs that you're used to, but we're going to have a little bit more tongue in cheek, and yet you're still going to feel emotionally activated. You're going to scoot forward on your seat when they all fucking hold hands at the end of this thing and their eyes glow and they defeat somebody by coming together with an emotional purpose.
But it's like it's like 5 people have been put together to do an assignment, and no one is doing the same assignment until the end.
It's so
It is
good.
silly.
And
Yeah.
honestly, they ease everybody's backstory in really well. Like obviously
Yeah.
Star-Lord's the lead and he gets that little superhero type
But
opening
you
at the
get like
beginning, but
5 origin stories in this movie.
even Rocket, I mean, that really
Yeah.
should be cheesy when Rocket's like kind of crying with the gun and he basically says like, I was experimented on when I was, you know what I mean? Whatever
Yeah, no,
he
I've
says.
been
And it's
that
like,
guy.
Oh, don't
holy
worry.
shit.
They saved that cheese for the third one for sure.
I know, but the
in
fact
case
that
you...
what I'm saying is, and of course I'm not trying to knock the third one, which is when I rewatched. We didn't even do the rewatch thing, but like when we rewatched it. But I rewatched it after I saw the third one, because the third one I was like, I wanted more, even though I like these characters, so I went back and watched the first one again. And the way Rocket, I don't need his back, and that was great. I'm not saying it wasn't well done, but literally just that one sequence where he's like with the gun and in the middle of
it's like, okay, this raccoon has issues.
And I got it, and that's honestly
Dave, it almost
enough.
feels like, doesn't this feel like it's almost like there's another like world of Star Trek where you just meet random people who come together and solve a problem, and like this kind of feels like that a little bit. It almost like stands apart.
Like the Guardians turned up in some of the Marvel stuff to contribute, obviously in Endgame and all that sort of shit. But every time there was a Guardians film, it was standalone.
Right. Yeah.
It was never influenced by anything else that was going on in the universe.
But then they asked them to come into Thor: Love and Thunder, and then they decided not to have Thor or the girl or whatever.
They skipped that whole thing,
come into Guardians 3 because they're like,
no, because nobody liked it.
They're not Earthbound, which I think lends itself to what you're talking about. But
also
but every time it was a standalone story. It was
we
like
said this before.
James Gunn made his own universe there.
This is the best trailer of all the Marvel movies, and this is one of the better trailers of the past 20 years, as far as just being like, what is this about? And also, I love the story that Hooked on a Feeling, which was the Uga Chaka from the trailer with the fucking cassette player floating, was meant to be the opening of the film, but they decided to use Come and Get Your Love instead. And so they're like, well, fuck, this is such a good song for our movie, so they used it in the trailer, and they did use it elsewhere too. But I'm mad at this movie
every
actually
year,
because
James Gunn on I think Spotify releases a playlist.
Yeah, well, and this was number one. This went for
it's
number
like
one.
shit that's influenced these films
even
this
though there's
year.
no original songs in this year. But I'm mad because I love the song, and actually John did introduce me to it, which is "Fooled Around and Fell in Love" from Boogie Nights, which is a very famous scene. It's the ass in the cock scene in Boogie Nights. Don't laugh, you know it. My wife is an ass in her cock. I mean, it's so good. They did the whole oneer, and they're like, "You said the line wrong," and they're like, "I don't know. I think he said it just right."
I don't care if you can really drink.
But instead, I can't. It's this movie stole that song back, and I'm mad about it because just them on the balcony with the song. I mean, that's the image I have when I think of Guardians, is them on the balcony.
It is fantastic, and just relatively speaking to what moves forward with the other iterations of Guardians and how they fit in. For me personally, Dave, and I think you might disagree with me, I don't think they have ever succeeded as well in them living in this universe as they did in one. I don't like how they get brought in I don't think it's as effective. I don't like their other movies as much as this one. This one could have just been a standalone and like never existed anywhere else. And I think it would have gone on.
We aren't talking about just this film.
I know. I'm just saying that all these elements, because whether or not we want to, we are talking about movies and we're trying to talk about them individually, but most of the movies we're talking about post 2000.
But that's the thing. Like the thing on the playbill is Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just the one film. We're not dealing with the trilogy. We're dealing with this one film.
I know, but you and I just mentioned you and I just agreed. I think Jeff did too at the end that it was almost because of our knowledge of the entire canon of phases 1 through 4 that we enjoyed number 3 Iron Man so much. But at the moment, when we first saw it, it kind of like didn't stand out to us so much. The first time I saw Guardians and on a rewatch, it's still like bright and shiny. Yeah. Like it still looks really great to me. It doesn't improve because of my knowledge of the canon, but it does stand out as being much better than the rest of the Guardians
movies. It is a magical film. But yeah, so it is up against Jurassic World.
Jurassic World, people. So 2015, the last year we're going to get to. John, what other movies, what made money in the year 2015?
Well, we got a record breaker at number 1 for the year. And again, it's always impressive because I like to call this out. This came out the third week of December, 2 weeks out from the end of the year. And it still comes in at number 1. J.J. Abrams' The Force Awakens. So this is the rebirth of the new reimaginings of the Star Wars franchise, first helmed by J.J. Abrams, but this is after the merger.
Of bitterness on the internet.
Whole new fucking And just remind you folks, this is after a gigantic merger between Lucasfilms, Disney, and Fox.
Yeah.
Right? So, and they also bought Marvel. So because Fox owned Marvel, was that right?
No, that was a whole other thing.
Marvel was
okay. So they bought their whole separate thing.
Disney bought Marvel separate.
So this is
Fox,
the first time
Fox
that you
owned
went
rights to characters Marvel didn't have. So yeah.
This is the first time you went to the theater and you saw George Lucas films, and you're just like, what the fuck is happening? Like it's off-putting. But we saw it, and then we saw our scroll, and then December of that year, that movie went on to still rake in way more than Jurassic World, which is our number 2. Jurassic World, according to my domestic numbers on the numbers, came in at 652 for the year. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, came in at 742.
And it would make more than that. It would keep going.
And it ended up breaking tons of records. Now, we don't need to get into the details because everybody had a lot to say about that movie, but impressive. So number 2, Jurassic World, that we're going to be talking about. Number 3, Avengers: Age of Ultron, the follow-up to the first Avengers, which we've already talked about in our previous head-to-head. They took the mantle on that one. We don't need to get into the details of this one. Everybody complained about it. So that came in at number 3. Number 4, maybe my favorite modern Pixar movie, if you can still say modern, post-2010, Inside Out. I think it's an absolute
that's a good one.
Masterpiece by Pete Docter. Incredible. Number 5, Furious 7. They're still hanging in there, my guys.
I mean, they
number
got good
6,
from 5. We're good.
Y'all, this is something about America. And 2015, number 6, American Sniper. That controversial, dramatic Clint Eastwood film.
That came out last year, but it came out at the end of the year, so it made a lot of money.
Oh, fuck me. You're right. I'm still going to count it just because that's crazy. They ended up making that.
That's what we're doing.
Number 7, another summer movie, Minions, the first of the many Minions to come, and it did really well, obviously, top 10. Number 8, the last of the Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 2. Number 9, Ridley Scott's The Martian, with Mr. Charming Matt Damon right there being The Martian. Once again, spending a lot of fucking American government money getting left up there on fucking Mars.
Fucking Matt Damon, get your shit together.
Come on, Matt Damon. God damn it. And number 10, the follow-up to what we mentioned, the Disney live-action reimaginings to Maleficent. The follow-up, number 10 this year, is Cinderella, which I still haven't seen, and people told me it's actually a good reimagining, but I don't give a shit. Jeff, give me the context.
So 5 movies made $1 billion.
I'm going to pee.
Bye. 5 movies. This is his 3rd time peeing since we started recording. That's how.
You know what? Sometimes you gotta just fucking.
5. We started recording our other episode, folks. Anyway, 5 movies made $1 billion. Star Wars. This obviously Jurassic World.
5 movies made $1 billion.
Tied with 2018 as the most ever. Avengers: Age of Ultron and Minions all made $1 billion. Spectre and Inside Out all made $850 million. So that's fun.
Fucking
the Mission
failures.
Impossible Rogue Nation made $688. Martian made $653. Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 made $647. You're talking monster. Fucking 50 Shades of Grey came out this year and made $570 million. I mean, this is wild.
Wow.
Cinderella made $540 million worldwide. Ant made $500 million. Hotel Transylvania. Fucking San Andreas made $450. Like, this is fucking crazy. Kingsman made $400 million. Anyway, Mad Max made $365, and Mad Max was a huge Oscars darling this year. Won 6 Oscars, mostly in technical
Fury
awards.
Road. Yeah.
Star Wars: The Force Awakens, 936 domestic overall. Once you add them all up, and over $2 billion worldwide. It broke a fuck ton of records. Yada yada yada. Awards. So this is funny. Somebody quoted this movie on Wikipedia. I didn't. I look at other sites too, but they said it was a terrible year for movies. You know, it was one of Hollywood's worst years, but one of movies' best years because it made so much money. But this was Oscar So White. This is the year of Oscar So White. So it's the 2nd year in a row that all 20 acting Oscars nominations were to white actors. You can also remember it as the year of Spotlight versus The Revenant. Spotlight would win Best Screenplay and Picture, whereas The Revenant actually won more Oscars and it had the most amount of nominations. yada, yada, yada. Inarritu does a back-to-back in director, which is very rare. I mean, Spielberg only has 2, so the fact that he went back-to-back is crazy.
Yeah, how many times does that happen? Can't be many.
It can't be many. I mean, you got to go back to John Ford, or if he ever did it, I don't know.
Capra did it. I think Ford did it.
Capra, maybe.
I think Inarritu did it.
Chivo, Manuel Lubezki, wins 3 cinematography awards in a row. Of course, the first person to ever do that. That is Gravity, Birdman, and The Revenant. That is insane. Gravity took 4 years to film, so the fact that he did 3 in a row is fucking crazy. Leo finally gets his Oscar for The Revenant. Brie Larson wins for the hilarious film Room. Mark Rylance wins for Bridge of Spies. And this is interesting because...
Just still talking?
Awful.
Shut up. Mark Rylance wins for Bridge of Spies. He beats Christian Bale for Big Short, which was great, and won Best Screenplay. Shout out Adam McKay. Mark Ruffalo was nominated, so that's 2 Mark R's. Mark Ruffalo tells a fun story about hearing, and the winner is Mark R. That's how close he was to winning an Oscar. Mark R. Rylance.
Awful.
Tom Hardy, who apparently never showed up on time to work for The Revenant, and Sylvester Stallone, who had a real shot. Idris Elba famously won the SAG Award despite not being nominated for an Oscar, and he was a huge sight for how Oscar So White
Beast of No Nation?
Beast of No Nation. Beast of No Nation. Yeah, Carrie Fukunaga. Alicia Vikander won for Leading Actress Part 2.
Ugh.
I mean, I'm so sorry, supporting actress in the category fraud thing because she had 55 minutes of screen time, but she was awesome in The Danish Girl.
God damn, she's awesome.
Yada, yada, yada. Amy won Best Doc, and Ennio Morricone finally won his scoring Oscar after doing all the Sergio Leone spaghetti westerns a million years ago. And also, Ex Machina is another film we've talked about on this podcast.
What
Won
did he
Best
win
Visual
for?
Effects. Sorry,
Well,
I'm such an asshole.
absolutely it won for visual effects.
Ex Machina won for visual effects. Ennio Morricone won for The Hateful Eight.
The Hateful Eight.
Other films, just to shout out very quickly. I don't 99 Homes, Straight Outta Compton, Sicario was fucking awesome.
Sicario is fucking
Carol,
awesome.
Brooklyn, Krampus, and fucking Shaun of the Sheep. I don't give a shit. Okay, what else you guys?
Yeah,
wanna
you took
talk
it
about?
from me. I was going to cut out Sicario because that movie's fucking crazy.
it's so
and
good.
then a
The
tiny little
cinematography.
horror film that I think has ended up just resonating and having an enormous influence on the contemporary filmmakers. It Follows came out this year, and don't know if you guys ever saw that, but that is a
We were going
really-
to talk about that at one point.
Were we?
Yeah.
Really cool. You guys definitely everybody should check
Like
it
you
out.
threw
if you get a
down.
chance. It's
You
good.
threw down for that one, but we didn't end up talking about
It's
it. We
good.
did something else. So.
It's a good movie, dude.
Yeah.
It's good.
I think it's enough. So anyway,
Let's do it.
Jurassic World, as you mentioned before, because Star Wars would go on, The Force Awakens would beat a lot of. Jurassic World made $1.66 billion. I mean, it's one of the highest grossing movies of all time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I know it
What's
has the
budget
name
on
and the
it?
IP.
Does anybody have the budget here?
I mean,
in front of them?
No, but
I
it can't
got
be
it,
more
I
than
got
like
it.
200.
I mean, you want to know why? Because it had the word Jurassic in it.
Yeah,
It's
of
only
course. But
150. Because it had the word Jurassic in it.
Furious
Like-
7 made 1.5, which is wild because it had the word Furious in front of it. But yeah, Jurassic World is the reboot of the series, and I mean, people loved it. So we're going to talk about it in a
I mean,
second. So
yeah, it's
$662 million just domestic, just in America, $600 million. Holy shit!
This
Sorry,
is
Dave.
a little awkward because the same actor is the lead in both of these movies.
He is.
Fuck yeah, this is the Will Smith
but he
thing
was,
that we had.
He was great. But also, and the reason I would argue Guardians over this is that
Yeah,
Guardians
Knives Out, Dave. Go there. Go there.
Guardians gave us something new. This didn't.
Well, we're off to a good
Mm-hmm.
start here, but yeah.
Yeah. No. But I want to hear. Dig in. Tell me why. And
Well,
just to
this
refresh
was
you
a
folks,
reboot. It was
I went on record saying that I think Jurassic Park, the original, is going to win this entire fucking thing. I think it's a perfect fucking movie. This is the reimagining.
Raiders
the
would win
next
so many other
generation.
people's lists.
I
by the
mean,
way.
Let's go.
It has a stellar cast like Bryce Dallas Howard, Chris Pratt, fucking Vincent D'Onofrio, who's a favorite of mine, of course. But
Yeah, he's
Again,
so
Than
good.
himself.
it was the same
He's having
thing.
way too much fun.
It was.
not the
It
same
was.
thing.
They opened a theme park with dinosaurs. They lost control of the dinosaurs. It's the same fucking story. Like all we're doing is rebooting.
This is The Force
Then why
Awakens
isn't it
too.
as
This
good
is
as
The
the
Force
first one?
Awakens. It's so funny. It's so funny that this and The Force Awakens both do that. It's the same bones, as J.J. Abrams
Literally,
said.
yeah.
It's the same bones. But why is that the meat, the tissues, the meat and the potatoes, why are they so different in both of these situations? I know we're not talking about The Force Awakens, but
Well, they didn't bring back an old actor from Jurassic Park and kill them.
he demanded to be killed, to be
He
fair.
wanted to
Did
be
he
killed.
did?
And also, if we didn't bring them back, people would be like, something fucked up's going on.
Dave, are you saying this movie would have been better if we would have seen Goldblum or?
Yeah, it would have been better if you knifed Sam Neill.
Sam Neill. Yeah.
we got BD Wong.
Nobody kill Laura Dern. Laura Dern is safe, no matter what. But
yeah, because she was 26 when they made the first one. She can make the next
leave BD Wong the fuck alone. BD Wong is awesome.
I met BD Wong once.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a big picture question. I rewatched it. Did you guys rewatch this, by the way? I had not seen this since it came out.
Do you remember during the franchise face-off?
I talked about how I just the second time around for me.
I do remember that.
I've seen this enough. Yeah. I've seen this enough.
Your whole your rant on this whole series is fantastic. And then I think
hit both buttons. I'm Jeff drunk.
I think if I remember correctly, I think I got a little frustrated and upset when we were talking about the last Jurassic Park because we saw that this past year when it came out.
Yeah,
that one really frustrated me.
A little bit.
Yeah, that one bothered me. And no hate or shame on Colin Trevorrow, who's made all of these movies. But for me, I think in this rewatch, it became really clear to me that what bothered me about this one was the casual nature of their sci-fi. It was such a given, kind of what you're saying, like they're just doing it again. So I guess they're thinking, well, we just gotta, if we're creating this world, then that means we're living in a world where we've done this before. So it can't be a big deal that we're doing it again.
Yeah, it's like
and
this.
I think they lost some of their power by taking that approach. Could it have been cooler if what's up? What?
Trevorrow just did the first and the fourth. He did not do those. He did not do Dominion. He did not do Fallen Kingdom. He just produced this. Back to you.
Produced those. Okay.
Yeah, because he started making ridiculous comments.
I guess I wonder if part of the problem that I had with this was how casual everybody was in their roles in this world on this island, because they already did it. What if they had been doing it again and the risks were the same? Then I don't think I would have minded them doing the exact same kind of structural, the bones of it, as you were saying. But because everything had already been done and they were already, they were referencing the fact that it had been done before, but they made me feel like they had this totally under control. The first one was an experiment. This one just seemed like everybody was doing their job, and then a dinosaur gets loose, and I don't know. There was some disconnect there for me.
A fucking dinosaur always gets loose. It's a fucking dinosaur.
That's the point. I got my
numbers
wrong.
All the dinosaurs get loose. That's a bigger deal.
There's only been 3. So he did the first and the third. He didn't do the second one, which is Fallen Kingdom. He directed Jurassic World and Jurassic World Dominion. He did not direct Fallen Kingdom, which is J.A. Boyega. Okay, sorry.
I kind of liked Dominion.
J.A. Bayona. Yes. I'm so sorry.
So what do you think? Do you agree with me that that's the ultimate issue with this? Is that the number one symptom, the casualness of the sci-fi?
Yeah. They fucked up on scale.
Yeah. I just didn't get scared. Do you remember? I've given this spiel too many times on this. It was kind of almost,
and I would use this to describe one of the Resident Evils got there, the Resident Evil films, where it was like, here's the game level and here's the boss battle, then the next game level, the boss battle, and that was what this film came across like. It was like, it's a game level.
So this is my complaint, and ultimately, I don't know if I'm quite as hard on this movie as both of you, even though I've ranted on this a million times. I almost feel like they did a survey of attention spans, and they decided that you have to give everybody a yuck periodically. So there's basically just like, oh, this is happening. Oh, no. Oh, this is happening. Oh, no. Oh, this is happening. Oh, no. Whereas the Jurassic Park, as John has mentioned many times, is actually a horror movie, which is a slow build usually. And of course it has the scares, but the actual through line is just going up very slowly.
Yeah, there are serious threats.
When these boys are talking in that pod, you can't tell me that you're sitting there going like, oh, I'm really fearful of the sake of the island or whatever. They're talking about like their divorced parents and stuff. And I understand how that's very meaningful to a lot of people, that kind of storyline. But it's so obviously divisive. It's so obviously manipulative. And it's a way of them going, okay, they're taking a break. You know what it is? In theater, it's a set change. They would be performing that in front of the curtain. Yeah. And everybody in the audience knows they're just killing time until they change what's going on behind the curtain. And that's
what the curtain comes up and they're trapped. Yeah.
And the Andromeda, because I actually think the Andromeda's Rex thing is actually pretty good. In the theater too, when you're trying to figure out what this thing is, where is it? Why can't we find it? Oh, it has the heat. I think that actually works just fine. I'm not saying it's brilliant, but it works pretty well.
To quote a previous film we recognized a minute ago, it's Ex Machina.
But Ex Machina is like...
It's like we provided this device that was a bigger threat.
I mean, it's... Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me...
It's like they watched episode 1 of Star Wars and went, there's always a bigger fish. So they just keep making a bigger dinosaur. Which was
the trap of this franchise, to not hold Colin Trevorrow and this new reimagining totally accountable. You know, I think they did that with number 2 and number 3 after the initial Jurassic Parks too. Jeff, you said it that, you know, I've always said this is like the first one's like a horror movie. The rest of these movies end up just feeling like adventure movies. Yeah. And there's something a little bit more shallow about them because you're never actually concerned. I like that there is a threat of concern that all of the guests are still on the island when this happens. That's fun.
Oh, the birds.
And I like, you know, when the pterodactyls come and start killing them, like that definitely raises the stakes. That's really cool. I had fun rewatching this. I still think this is the best of these reimaginings.
100%. Oh yeah,
that's true.
You know, there are things happening, but ultimately, it just feels. It's the basis. It's the foundation of their story because this park had apparently been existing for years, and they were pulling it off so successfully. I did not feel any tension from the fact that it existed. Because, you know, in the sequels, in number 2 and number 3...
You were waiting for the cool moments. That was the thing. It's like you're watching it, and you're not tense. You're waiting for the cool moments.
Yeah. And number 2 and number 3, even though it felt super divisive, at least you had Jeff Goldblum in those sequels saying in the exposition, you guys are fucking idiots. You're doing it again.
I mean, number 3 was very subversive of everything that came before it. So number 3 gets props in my book, but this is number 1,
like number 3.
And it didn't.
Chris Pratt, hold on, wait. Chris Pratt sort of says it this time because he says, you're not treating them like animals. These are actual animals. I really like his scene when he sees Andromedus Rex and he says, this thing was raised in captivity. You're fucked. It doesn't know how to interact with anything outside of it. You're never going to get it to act normal because it doesn't know what normal is. There are a lot of moments that make sense and work in this movie. But for me, it's just that foundational aspect, which that is so gigantic. I guess we can hold Colin Trevorrow and the people who pitched this idea to them that we were succeeding in this as opposed to trying to reopen a park. I wonder what it would have been like if they had tried to launch a new opening and they had guests on the island for the first day. I think that would have been a more tense movie myself, but they didn't want to make that one. So
it's an impossibility.
And it's 3 hours long, and the second half is the trial.
It's probably not 3 hours long. It is an impossibility that
was an Oppenheimer joke.
Yeah. It is an impossibility that they are going back to the same island. So again, with the divorced parents thing, I know it means a lot to a lot of people, but it's like the kids are going on a trip to see their aunt who doesn't like kids, who now runs this dinosaur park, and you know it's going to go wrong. So like, whereas the first Jurassic Park, it's like, what happens if we exist with dinosaurs? That is an actual question that is asked.
The thing is, in the first one
is non-existent and it doesn't matter. So all we are doing is waiting for shit to go wrong. They know it. They know we know it. Yeah. They know that they can sell a lot of stuff. They call it the Pepsi Andromeda strain. They know this kind of stuff. So you're just literally sitting there waiting for it to go wrong. And then when it goes wrong, it's how is it going to go wrong? But it doesn't have the point. The point of the first one is what happens if dinosaurs came back. The point of this one is how are things going to go wrong? There's no why. There's no what or why. It's not there. It doesn't exist.
Dude,
it just
good job, dude. You fucking nailed it. That is exactly what I was trying to say. That foundational question doesn't exist, so therefore there's no tension because of it.
That's the thing. It's like the first one, when shit happens to the kids, they're trapped together and you care. Who gives a fuck about the kids in this one?
All right, but Dave, hold on. Let's just use that scene as an example. And let's talk about the differences in filmmaking because, again, alluding to that, like that sequence with the T-Rex in the first one is a horror sequence.
Yeah.
Shamelessly on its face. I don't think you want to believe that everybody's going to make it out of that.
Because we know they shouldn't interact. Humans and T-Rexes shouldn't interact. We know that to be true. They shouldn't interact.
It eats the guy in the shitter.
You're right. This is the first. All right, let's connect all of our dots for our listeners. That sequence in number 1 with the T-Rex is the first time that Jeff's question gets answered. The question has been asked by multiple characters in the first one leading up to that point, and now we get to actually see what happens when we have to deal with this reality. And he paints it in it's not adventurous at all. It is result, 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 result. The characters are changing in front of our eyes. Whereas with adventure, you're kind of seeing these people go through these circumstances, not expecting them to change too much. They're just moving from one plot point to the next. When those kids get trapped by Andromedus Rex and that cool dinosaur with the club tail, I still enjoyed, watching the...
Yeah, the fight is great.
I was paying more attention to the Andromedus Rex trying to adapt to its environment and kill everything in sight than I was watching humans deal with the fact that they were surrounded by dinosaurs.
Eat the kids, they'll be fine.
So I think just not only on the story on its page, like what is the point of this scene, but also in the filmmaking, it almost kind of felt like they weren't trying to make us think that there was any big picture question being asked. It was just watch these kids in this glass ball. Not
and Bryce Dallas Howard.
What are the consequences of Andromedus Rex? Yeah.
Same thing with Bryce Dallas Howard, who is not in the scene, but it's like she runs the park. So in theory, it should be like, what happens when there's chaos? Honestly, it's kind of, I think it would be a good TV show. What happens if you run Jurassic World from the perspective of Bryce Dallas Howard? That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
They have made that video game, I think.
We haven't really touched on it, but I still am not sure if I like or dislike the whole angle with training raptors. Like sometimes I watch this and it bothers me a lot. Sometimes it doesn't bother me as much. It's really far-fetched. That's a tall order.
That's a tall order
to get on board with.
But the funniest thing is I went with that because Chris Pratt sold it.
Yeah, he did a good job.
And D'Onofrio sold it. It was like, oh, you've trained these to do what? And like he was the bad guy, but yeah, he sold it.
And then
he sold me. I'll push back on that because I enjoyed his performance so much this time. He sold me that he believed they could be trained. I don't know if they sold me that he had any evidence supporting that they could be super soldiers.
That's it. No, for sure. Well, because he believed that they can't be trained, but they can be trained to not kill him. And that's a start. And like maybe, but not super soldiers. I don't think he ever believed that. But like they believed that he believed that they could coexist. That's what it was to me. The super soldiers thing is always far-fetched for sure.
And he had a fun death. He had a fun death. But I wonder if what it would have felt like if it had been a little bit more grounded and sincere. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So I think we know.
So it's garbage.
I think we know where this is going. Yeah.
I'm voting for Jurassic World.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
I'm kidding.
Okay. Dave?
Guardians all the way.
So Avengers and Guardians.
Guardians.
Hell yeah. Like I think these are two great Marvel movies to move on. That's awesome. All right, people. We have one more week before we have to get into our next round, which I don't even know how that's going to look. It's going to be wild.
Well, no, we've still got one more round of this before we get into the bracket.
Yes, that's what I mean. So one more week, and then we go into the next round.
Next week is interesting.
Okay, what do we have for next week? Do you have them up?
I do.
Yeah.
For 2016, we have the follow-up to Finding Nemo.
Yes!
Finding Dory. Came out right smack dab in the middle of the summer, June 2016. So that'll be a fun little reboot. Versus 2017's Beauty and the Beast.
No,
I
Wonder
have
Woman.
Beauty and the Beast.
I have Wonder Woman.
Let's do Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman it is.
No, let's do it because Beauty and the Beast came out at the end of March, but let's do fucking Wonder Woman
for sure.
I have Wonder Woman, yeah.
20, and then that'll be the first one. So that's Finding Dory versus Wonder Woman. Finding Dory versus Wonder Woman.
How the fuck? God damn it, guys.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard.
That'll be fun. And then 2018 versus 2019. 2018. I wish it was Black Panther because everybody thinks of that movie when they think of that year for blockbusters.
That came out
in February. Yeah. So we have a decision.
We're not late yet.
Infinity War came out April 27th. Do you guys want to count it? Or it would be Incredibles 2, which came out in the middle of the summer in June.
I mean, that technically, I think April's pushing it. May is already pushing it. The May 3rd. I think
it was May. May was the cutoff.
All right, I'm fine with that. Said May, Incredibles 2. We got another Pixar standoff here. That's going to be fantastic. Incredibles 2, 2018 versus 2019's. Again, same deal with the Avengers. So I have the live action The Lion King.
I have live action.
You have Aladdin?
Yeah.
Guys, this is real fun.
I have Aladdin
podcasting here.
as.
We're gonna work this
I have
out,
Aladdin-
and you'll find out what we do next week. I
Let's
guess.
do it
It's the
here.
Lion
Let's do it
King
on
for
here.
sure. Aladdin over the summer. Aladdin domestically only made 355. The Lion King made 544, according to the numbers for
Shit.
domestically for the year.
And that came out in August. I remember it coming out in August.
Is that outside that bracket?
No, I have July. I have the Lion King coming out July 19th, and Aladdin coming out
I
May
thought it came out in
24th.
August.
We can check it.
Yeah,
We're having a moment here,
Yeah.
listeners, but I think it's going to be.
It's funny because the list I was sent that I
Incredibles
built,
2 versus Lion
built
King.
this list off was the first list we found. Then we found other lists.
Yeah, because I remember
if
thinking
this
it was
isn't
going to
a
be
lesson
Aladdin.
and
I
not
thought it was
trust what you
Aladdin.
find on the internet, what is?
God damn it, we're so unprepared.
We're fine. We'll work it out next week.
I have The Lion King by a long shot coming
Okay.
out July 19th, and I have Aladdin making $200 million less than that for domestically, coming out in May 24th. So it fits within the summer. It just made a lot less money
The
than
funniest
The Lion King.
thing is this is the link you sent me.
Guys, The Lion King made so much more money than Aladdin. Wait, but Aladdin made more money worldwide, though. So that's the tricky
Oh,
thing.
fuck that. No, okay.
Wait, is that true? No,
Aladdin's
that's
out.
not true. That's not true. The Lion King definitely made more money worldwide. Sorry.
And they both came out in 2019, right?
They both came out.
Yes.
So Aladdin
Yeah.
was May 24th. The Lion King was July 19th. Lion King would make $1.6 billion worldwide. Aladdin just over $1.
What about domestic? Because domestic is what we do.
The Lion King fucking smoked Aladdin domestically.
Okay.
Fucking smoked
So it's the Lion King
him.
live action.
God damn.
I'm excited. I've never
damn.
seen it.
Are we? what?
I saw it in theaters.
I've heard John
You've already talked to me about
Favreau
it. You've already
talk
talked to me about
about all his technology. I'm excited. All right.
it. I've
Yeah,
already talked
and
about this. Okay.
So Finding Dory versus
the Jungle Book was a
Wonder Woman.
rehearsal for the Lion King,
yeah.
dude. Seriously.
And then Incredibles 2 versus The Lion King. So what a weird little ending to
Yeah, it's
it.
weird.
Ghostbusters and Raiders of the Lost. Ghostbusters and Raiders lost, but these fucking movies are going on. Let's go, people.
Weird.
I mean,
weird.
are we going to throw in wild cards? What are we going to do? We'll
I mean,
find out.
at this point, like, can we just put Raiders and fucking Ghostbusters forward and skip next week? I mean, holy shit. Well, we'll talk about them. These movies made a lot of money, so let's talk about them.
Okay.
All right. Good times, good episodes. Happy 200th, you fucking cunts.
Yeah, know what you've been watching.
Are we
This has
doing
been long
what you been
enough.
watching?
Have you
for,
watched anything good,
part
Dave?
two?
What you been watching, Dave?
I don't know. I didn't write any notes.
I don't know.
Save it for next week, guys. This has been 3.5 fucking hours of talking to you guys for
It
our
really
200th
has.
episode.
Wait, I
I'm
want to tell you,
sick of you
I just want to
fucks.
brag a little bit. That Tarantino class, guys, I got to watch, this week we're just going in sequential order. So I watched Death Proof, which was awesome. And then we watched Inglourious Bastards.
So we're doing it. We're
And
doing
this
how
on the big screens. It was
Inglourious is so
fantastic.
good.
And I also watched all of the second season of The Bear, which was enjoyable
So good,
a lot.
right?
I really like that show.
I don't feel like talking about this. Dave, do you have anything else?
Not really. I'm just still going with Strange New Worlds and X-Files.
Love it. And you saw 2 movies. I saw 1. Okay, cool. Guys, 200 episodes. Congrats. Cheers to you all.
Yay!
Is that your cat?
Yeah. You can hear the cat.
Dave's cat is
It's
so
been
mad.
howling for like hours, dude. I'm surprised it's the
I
first
just
time
heard
you
it
heard her.
I just heard it for the first time. Dave, for your cat. All right. See you next week, film fans.
Got even a cat in the beer.
Peace.